I distorted. What did I distort from that experience? Well, I distort, generally when people have public speaking phobias, and it is a phobia usually, it's not just a fear, they are distorting the attention that's going to come their way. So that attention will be, oh my God, there's going to be like 40 people looking at me, or I don't know, 22. But they're going to be looking at sort of like, they're going to be looking at sort of like, I don't know, what, I've got the right socks on, or am I going to make mistakes? Am I going to be, what if I sort of, what if I get tongue-tied, and what if I can't speak, and what if I just sort of, what other things are sort of people are afraid about, sort of public speaking-wise? And you can tell sort of like, they distort the little thing that's going on inside of them, so it becomes such a massive thing that they can't deal with life. And it's just massively distorted. Generalised distortions, deletions. What are they deleting? Well, right now, I'm feeling a lot of love, I'm feeling a lot of connection, so I'm talking to people's eyes, but I'm also connecting from here as much as I can. But somebody else, they would be deleting the love. They would be deleting the impact on somebody's lives. They would be deleting the opportunity for growth, which is what this is for me, as it is for you. So this is what beliefs are, and this is how powerful they are. Another one which I'm really good at is heights. I have a ridiculous lack of fear about heights. Is it ridiculous? Some people are completely phobic. I remember my dad used to go over this bridge on the way to Cornwall, and he'd literally shut his eyes as we're driving in this Peugeot 505 with 7 seats. Don't shut your eyes there. But he would shut his eyes because he was a powerful businessman. He had really bad fear of heights. And we're going over this Brunel Bridge and really struggling. And I'd be there thinking, I could lean out the window, right? Suddenly I felt really good. Also, the other thing was we had apple trees in the garden. And even if he was going to go up on a step ladder, he'd really be frightened about going up, in case he fell off, or he just didn't like heights. And I'd be in the tree again. Is this high enough for you, Dan? Sort of like, I can reach this one. So they're irrational, aren't they? Beliefs. Crazy. They're kind of, they're good and they're bad, because you've all got really great beliefs about the world, I imagine. Some really great beliefs and some which are limiting beliefs. So what I work with are those limiting beliefs. And I didn't just qualify in hypnosis or EFT or NLP. I did them all, and I studied even more things on top of that as well. So I understood coaching, and I studied other people who did coaching. And a coach works slightly different to a therapist, because a coach is helping someone to overcome that hurdle. They're not just doing the therapy, which is generally on the past. They're helping the person in the present moment, and they're also helping them build a much more compelling future. They're helping them to move towards that goal that they would like to be moving towards. And there's various things that you can do as a coach. You can be very much, well, I certainly feel a lot more freer working as a coach. Sometimes I've taken my clients who've got very stuck, I've taken them, right, okay, we're leaving the therapy, or we're leaving the coaching room, and I've taken them to the graveyard, which is just around the corner. It takes like a few minutes. And we've just walked around the graveyard, because where they were was very stuck. And I've given them some homework, or home play, which way you want to word it, but I've given them some home play to do, and they hadn't done it. And effectively they were very stuck in that belief. And they also knew that they were probably over halfway through their life, and they had a fear of death as well. So we went and confronted it. We went to the graveyard or walked around it. And we got him to look and visualise at one of his, at his own gravestone. What is it that one would like to have read on there? And after a few minutes, he started to sort of accept the fact that he wasn't going to be around in 100 years' time, which more than likely I'm not going to be, unless I live to be the oldest man who's ever lived. But we're all going to be gone at some point, so we're all going to leave some kind of legacy. We're all going to have some kind of effect on the world. And it gave him some perspective. I saw this guy for at least 30 sessions, and we worked on many things. But sometimes focusing on the fear does actually help, because by focusing on what you're most afraid of and the worst case scenario, the worst possibility, can lead you to find the courage to actually overcome it. Because very often it doesn't manifest anyway. We worry about things, we'll try and control things that literally don't need controlling. Life just happens by itself. Hence, I've done this without any notes. So, the unconscious mind, pretty powerful, and these tools help you to empower the conscious, the wanting part of the mind that wants to take some kind of control, and works with the billions to educate them that actually going completely west might not necessarily be the right thing to do, because there's a part of us inside of us that says going east is good as well, and we need to come up to some kind of win-win situation here. So it's resolving conflicts inside of ourselves, which we all have, which I have, which pretty much everybody has. Even Eckhart Tolle, who I really love and follow, who's a spiritual teacher. People heard of Eckhart Tolle? Read The Power of Now, also written A New Earth, very successful author. I've even heard him in interviews say that he has, the ego is very, very low, and it's 20 to 30% in the background. So it doesn't mean that he's egoless, but it means that he's much more aware of something else within him that is more powerful than this ego or the unconscious. There's something else other than just our minds. So, unconscious mind, I think that's roughly about it. I could go on and on. Anybody else got any questions about the unconscious?
When you're asleep and you have dreams, those are unconscious things, aren't they?
Yeah. Your unconscious is processing huge amounts of information when you're asleep.
Because it's not often that you remember what you were dreaming, unless you wake up and it was towards the morning, in the middle of a dream or something, then you might remember something.
It's a good point. When we're having those dreams, we're not in a deep state of delta, which is very, very low. Those are cycles at which the brain operates. So when we're all operating about beta right now, the next level down, slightly more relaxed, is alpha, then there's theta, and then there's delta. And when we're in sleep, it's happening theta and alpha. So pretty much theta, you're very, very tired and sleepy, and that's sort of at a hypnotic place. If you're going to do hypnosis with someone, you don't want them in complete delta. Not to say that it wouldn't be impactive, but the best place to have them is in theta, but also in alpha as well. It's okay. But so when we're waking up from deep sleep, we move through theta, then into alpha, and then into beta. So we have some kind of consciousness of what's happening. We're not completely unconscious. So yes, a lot of dreaming as well is the unconscious processing lots of information. So things that we have experienced, and sort of recalibration, and there's a lot of huge amounts of metaphor. Would everybody agree? Sort of like anybody has really strange dreams here?
Yeah, I think it was last week. I just dreamt that suddenly I changed into this really unusual animal that just didn't exist. And I had all this fur, and it grew on and had a tail. And I was panicking, how am I going to get this fur off me? I need to get back to normal.
Right.
So I went to this, I found some animals that looked the same, and then I was there and they were shaving the fur off me to try and get me back to normal. And then I woke up and I was normal again. But I really don't know what that was about. Normally I could relate my dreams to something, but that's the most kind of weird one I've had in this.
Yeah.
Some animal that I didn't know.
Sometimes they begin to make sense. There are people who analyse dreams.
You don't know what to do with that one.
Keep your power. You actually know what that is about.
Yeah.
Because your unconscious will know what it's about.
Yeah. But then you know certain ones when I've got to present at work the next day and it's like everyone's going to be looking at me, and then you have dreams on that night that you're falling, and then I can relate, oh, that's because I know that I'm worried I'm going to fail in that. But I didn't know what the animal was.
Okay, well, the fur's about protection. We're actually wanting to shed the hair, be seen for who you are. You think, so there was a wanting to, I won't analyse it too much if you don't want me to, but there was like a feeling of wanting to, you wanted to get rid of something.
Yeah, I suppose I turned into something else and I was really frightened because I was not who I thought I was.
Ah, yeah.
And then wanting to get back and look normal.
Yeah. Don't want to change. And this is the thing, it's, we don't particularly want to change. We tend to go for familiarity. We do the same things. Our behaviour is pretty much the same. So it's fascinating. Yeah, and if you document them, you can sort of see what's happening. Yeah, I had a ex-girlfriend who used to go flying in her dreams, and she said, "Oh yeah, flying. Oh yeah, I've read that's really, really good." And sort of like, I'm spiritually ascending or doing something, and it's that processing. There's a huge amount of calibration going on. It's almost like when we exercise, if we exercise, we actually rip a muscle. So we rip it slightly, and when we're asleep, unconscious mind then repairs it and then rebuilds it, and that's actually how we get definition. The muscle doesn't rebuild while we're awake.
But you have to achieve delta.
It happens in delta, yeah.
Yeah, because I suffer with fibromyalgia. Sometimes you cannot get into delta sleep.
Everybody achieves delta on some level, I would say, even if it's very,
you can
very
do that
efficient.
through meditation as well.
Yes, well, yes, yeah.
Well, yeah, meditation is better than medication.
Medication.
I assure you.
Absolutely, yeah. And people who consistently meditate and have worked on gaining stillness within are able to get down into delta a lot more. Unconscious mind wants me to sneeze right now, so it's just going, when you start to build up to sneeze, look at the unconscious processing that goes on to do that. You don't do it consciously, do you? You try and consciously go, and the billions are going, no, it's coming out, it's coming out. I say look up, I've heard look up at the sun. No sun here, but I look up there. Oh, it does work. Yeah, I had fibromyalgia for a long, long time, and I understood that it was eventually that it was my mind was I was suffering from so many fears, masses and masses of fears. So it gave me pains all of the time. It was the fact that the unconscious was giving me signals to be tight, almost like this all the time, because there wasn't a stillness there. So the pain was at an unconscious level within the muscles. Particularly, I got it massively in my legs, and I wasn't happy in my life. I wasn't happy in the work that I was doing. I wasn't happy with the money that I was earning. There were so many things about my life that I didn't like. So the more that I changed my life, and I used these tools and had therapy and coaching myself to overcome my fears and started to live a different reality than the one that I had been living, my symptoms began to lessen, and to the point that they began to lessen that they weren't there anymore. So it wasn't for me like a spontaneous healing. It was a shift of my beliefs and my vibration, ultimately.
Yeah.